Greetings, ladies and managers, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called Slood, written by Battlelocks _. You have what? I asked. The alien replied. I rubbed my ears. At first I thought the earpiece in the translator had been mistaken, but when my ambassador counterpart repeated the word, I realized that the static I heard felt like it rang in my brain, like a gap in the sound itself. I'm sorry, I can't seem to understand you. I don't believe we have that, in the United Earth system, I replied uncertainly. Really? The alien asked, a note of astonishment in his voice. That is most peculiar, Ambassador. Every species we know of has the same requirements. I nodded. That's what our xenologists have told me. All sentient creatures need food, water, sleep. Furthermore, all have a long history of depending on fire. Right, the ambassador said, and... I blinked a few times. I'm sorry, you're saying what exactly? I can't make out the word. The ambassador repeated patiently. In your language, it is spelled S-L-O-O-D. Slood? I asked cautiously. No, that's not right, the ambassador said, shaking his head. It is pronounced... I'm terribly sorry, I said, but I can't figure out what you're saying. The alien made an expression of concern. This is most unusual, humans. Perhaps if I show you, you will understand. There must be a translation error. No species ever survived without... just like water. Please follow me. I trailed behind the alien as we passed through a series of very futuristic-seeming doors, tracing a maze through the ambassador's diplomatic vessel. My brow furrowed. We had been planning on taking a short 5-hour break from first contact negotiations, but the alien seemed incredibly concerned that the basic needs of myself and the rest of my diplomatic crew would not be met. Here we are, the alien said as we entered what seemed to be the kitchen. The most important substance to life. It motioned to a nearby counter where there were several bowls set down. I approached and peered into the bowls. This is water, yes? It asked, pointing to the first. I nodded. Dihydrogen monoxide, yes, pure, or at least with a few impurities. Of course, the ambassador replied. Species prefer different impurities for taste, but the base chemical is the same. It pointed to the next bowl. This is a basic grain-based food we make. We grind this specific part into a plant into a sort of dust, add water and other additives like salt, and then cook it. Ah, yes, bread, we call it. I said, happy to be back in familiar territory. And that there, I said, pointing at what seemed to be a stove. Is that a cooking implement capable of creating heat or fire? Indeed, the ambassador exclaimed. It fiddled with the interface on a small circle of flames appeared. Yes, we call that a stove or a hob or a burner, I said. Most often we use some flat metal pad to distribute the heat. Fantastic! And finally, there's this. I looked for the final bowl. There's what? I asked. This, here. The ambassador pointed to an empty spot on the counter. I leaned over the counter to stare at the spot. Air? I asked. No. Do you understand now? With all due respect, I said slowly. There's nothing there. The alien made an expression like frowning. You jest. I shook my head. I'm afraid one of us is going insane. Feel it, the alien insisted. Place your appendage on that spot. I slowly stretched up my arm to the spot that the alien had pointed at, and then gently placed my hand on the counter. Nothing? The alien recoiled and hovered. What are you? It whispered. What beasts can pass through solid matter and have no need for... The alien's expression hardened, and it walked away from me. You must be cleansed, it said, leaving the room. And that's how I started humanity's first galactic war. End of story. Story number 2, called Salt, written by Fellas Balar. Blan was desperately trying to control his nerves before the customers arrived for the demonstration. He slothfully swirled himself, attempting to get rid of the sickly green and returned to a more neutral grey. The pressure of the situation was getting to him. They needed to sail. The Bulbawan were a species of sentient gas and mineral particle groupings. As intelligent clouds, they communicated through thermochemical reactions to produce colors that portrayed their thoughts and emotions. They also were able to manipulate materials by forming around them and moving pretty much any mass with precision and low effort. As such, they made wonderful craftsmen. However, they were very sensitive to atmospheric fluctuations and compositions. This made space travel delicate. As such, they had become dependent on the galactic trade, and the solar economy was not doing so well. Even switching most of their production to weapons manufacturing had only put off the increasing risky position in the galaxy. As such, they needed new customers, and quick. Today, Pilan was meeting a new species called Humanity. It was a last-ditch effort to save his company from bankruptcy and prevent the domino effect it would have on the continental economy. They had made an impact in the last decade as mercenaries, which boded well for them. These thoughts were interrupted by the client's arrival. 4 men, in striking military uniforms, walked out of the station's lift. Pilan glowed a welcoming gold and floated to them, offering a tablet with full specs. His translator managed to convey the extra details as he spun his colors. "Welcome. Hoping your trip was pleasant. My name is Pilan. I will be answering questions of yours." "Thank you for having us, Pilan. I am Colonel Relin of the Global Space Force." The man in front spoke, offering a quick salute, and his 3 partners did the same. "With me are several members of our assembled armed forces, Major Williams and Stewart, as well as Captain Steele of United Defense Division. We're excited to see these missiles of yours today." Pilan's gold added some excited red. Their eagerness gave him hope, and he quickly began to explain the details of their newest ship-to-ship combat missiles as they traveled to a large observation deck. He was soon cut off. "Sorry to interrupt you, but all the jargon is hard for me to follow." Rillan waved his hand quickly. "The science division loves it, but I need things dumbed down for me."
"Oh, well, most ships have shielding capabilities made to protect during near to faster-than-light travel. As such, weapons have little impact. Our company has decided to approach the issue as to be simple and overkill. The idea is to impact with the outer missile, release a secondary warhead inside the shields, and then ignite with intense shrapnel. We have in front of us an asteroid the size of a standard galactic cruiser. It has a military-grade shield apparatus attached. We will now fire the weapon."
A missile traveling at sublight speed streaked towards the asteroid. On impact, the initial explosion could be seen contained for a second within the shields before they failed, and the remaining destruction erupted outwards, the flames quickly extinguished by the vacuum of space. Next to nothing remained, as most of the rock had been evaporated. Pilan felt the smaller sound wave of a giggle. He turned to see all 4 humans smiling. The science man was clapping even. Pilan's hopes rose, as did the streaks of violet within him. They clearly were sold. "All right, Mr. Pilan," Rillan addressed, suddenly serious again. "Couple good questions. First, how many do you have? Second, how many and how quickly can you make them?" His boss's coloring was a brilliant shade of shocking magenta.
They want to buy all of them?"
Pilan nodded.
"And they want us to make a quota every year to outfit their fleet. Just 2 conditions. Oh, don't worry. They just want us to make that an exclusive deal for humanity. These can't be sold by us to anyone else."
"That's rough, but we don't have much choice given our financials. What's the second one?"
"They want a Bulbawan technician on every ship that has these missiles. It won't be a problem either, because it turns out that their atmosphere is nearly identical to ours."
The entity from across Pilan turned a tranquil blue. We can sail the stars by the wind. This is more than we could have ever hoped for. Plan was a mad swirl of blues and golds.
Also, they gave me advice for future interactions with humans.
Oh?
Less specs, more boom.
End of story. I would quickly like to thank our Tier 5 patrons, Dragzoon WRE, Quantum Wednesday, Ambrose Cattell, Lord Ashrakal, Bushmaster 177, Casper Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, and Arcadian. Thank you very much.